Welcome to the Weekly Random. On this TV Random, we're going to be talking about The Boys. The Boys is a show that originally aired on Prime Video in 2019. Most of you have probably heard of it, you've probably watched it, and like me, loved it. With the second season's finale just airing a couple of days ago, since they decided to release episodes weekly this time, I thought it would be a good idea to compare the superheroes alongside some other characters from the show with characters from the DC and Marvel universes. I considered most to be amalgamations of DC and Marvel characters, although a couple were clearly just from one universe. I'm going to be using the information we've gotten so far from the show, alongside a little bit from the little I know from the Boys comics. Before we go on though, make sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell if you aren't already subscribed. Also, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video so far. It really helps out and I would really appreciate it. Feel free to comment predictions of what DC or Marvel characters I'm going to pick for these characters. And of course, minor spoiler alert for both seasons of The Boys. First off is the Deep. He's mostly an analog to DC's Aquaman. He's called the King of the Seven Seas. He talks to fish, maybe a little too much. He can also breathe underwater with a modified pair of lungs and human-sized gills. And the comic version of this character, he has the ability to fly, which also makes him a parody of Namor. Queen Maeve is up next. Queen Maeve is none other than Wonder Woman. I couldn't really think of a Marvel counterpart for her, maybe Thor because of how often he's compared to Wonder Woman, otherwise none other. Character wise I'll say she's between regular Wonder Woman and Injustice Wonder Woman. If you've ever read Injustice, you know how evil Injustice Wonder Woman is. Next up is Homelander, the psychopathic leader of the Seven, who as my thumbnail says is not only a parody of Superman, but also a parody of Captain America. He has Superman's strength, speed, and most of Superman's other abilities, but he has the hyper-Americanism of Captain America. Thankfully, neither Superman nor Captain America share Homelander's evil ideals, except for Injustice Superman though. That guy is pretty evil. I mean, look at him, staring all evilly. Black Noir is the seventh stealth-based character, who of course instantly reminds you of Batman, but in my opinion, due to him being a little more, edgy, I'm gonna say he's more like Moon Knight in the personality department, cause they're both sociopaths. And if you read the comics, you're probably giggling to yourself about this character. Next up is Translucent. He has the ability to turn invisible due to the fact that his skin is made of a carbon metamaterial. This kind of threw me off a bit because obviously he's straight up the Invisible Woman, but his skin transformation reminds me of Emma Frost. Although she can't turn invisible, she can transform her skin to a hardened diamond substance which makes her bulletproof, just like Translucent. I also had a hard time with Starlight. On one hand, she looks pretty similar to DC's Stargirl. I mean, they both have Star in their names. But on the other hand, her powers and abilities kinda remind me of Dr. Light, the DC villain. And in true The Boys fashion, Starlight's actually a good soup, a reasonable member of the Seven, and the kind of secret member of The Boys. A-Train, one of the first soups we were introduced to, the speed star of the Seven, cause every superhero team needs a speed star, is parodying none other than DC's The Flash. Both have super speed, superhuman metabolism, and of course a healing factor. Fortunately, as far as I know, none of the Flashes share A-Train's drug problem. Stormfront, a new character from season 2, does not go against the status quo of the show. In fact, she heavily leans into it. She reminds me of Marvel's Thor for the most part, but due to the nature of her plasma manipulation, she also seems like a parody of Static Shock. Fortunately, neither of these characters are, literal Nazis. Lamplighter feels like a combination of Pyro from the X-Men from an ability perspective. They both need an external fire source in order to bend fire, and they manipulate said fire at ease. He also kind of reminds me of Firestorm from DC because, you know, fire. Costume-wise, he reminds me of DC's Green Arrow. I also found it pretty interesting that the actor that plays him played Bobby from the original X-Men films. You know, Iceman. Now onto the speed round. The female, a member and the powerhouse of the boys, kinda reminds me of X-23, Laura, and the Wolverine without his memories because of how vicious she is, and also because of her really amazing healing ability. Homelander's son is clearly just Jonathan Kent with some major impending daddy issues. The Mesmerizer is of course Professor X from the X-Men, or Emma Frost, or maybe even Martian Manhunter or Ms. Martian, except for the having to touch in order to read minds part. Nubian Prince is none other than the Black Panther. Popclaw also seems to be a parody of X-23. She also reminds me of a character from X-Men The Last Stand. He could grow horns out of his body and throw them like daggers. If you know this character's name, feel free to drop his name in the comment section because I would really like to know. Shockwave is also a speed star, so the Flash again. Let's say Wally West for him. Doppelganger is of course Mystique from the Marvel Universe, either her or Miss Martian or Martian Manhunter from the DC Universe. And finally, the baby Billy was using as a laser blaster kinda reminds me of the Super Baby. And although this is neither a DC or Marvel character, the baby also reminded me of the baby from Diamond is Unbreakable due to their shared destructive power. Yes, JoJo Reference. So yeah, that's the list. These are some of the DC and Marvel characters I think the boys are parodying. What did you comment at the start of the video? If you want to support the channel, make sure you smash that like button, and while you're at that, hit that subscribe button and the bell cause it really helps out. Make sure you stick around for some more videos and feel free to check out my previous videos. If you've been subscribed for a while, you've probably noticed the overall I just had on the channel. Tell me what you think about it. Anyway guys, it's been a pleasure and I'll see you in the next video, which I promise this time won't take me 6 months. Later!